Good morning to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Family Morning Transformation with yours truly, DMP Speaks. I'm so glad to be with you on this morning. Before I get started, how are you? How are you feeling? I hope all is well. I hope that your family is doing well. Listen, it's a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday morning. It's a wonderful Wednesday morning. I just pray and I hope that you all are doing well. So, again, welcome to Family Morning Transformation. My name is David M. Pinkston, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I am an empowerment speaker, a Christian counselor, and a restoration specialist, a family coach. I come here every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. and on Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you some tips, some inspiration, some motivation, and most of all, some transformation for your family. Before I get started, I need you guys to do me a favor. Please share this on your page. Please share this with your family, your friends. Share this with a colleague. Share it with someone that really needs help, that needs some direction when it comes to their children. What I want to talk about this morning is children that suffer from depression. So that is the topic. Children that are suffering or have suffered or are suffering from depression. Depression is a hard thing to deal with. The reason why I understand what depression is because as a child, as a teenager, I struggled. I wasn't diagnosed, but I struggled and suffered at times with depression. Depression can come from anywhere. It can come from disappointment. It can come from losing a loved one. It could come from so many areas. Could be depression from school. It could be depression in the home. You're trying to live up to a particular standard. Excuse me. And depression can come because you feel like you haven't done enough or you are not good enough. And depression can set in and disappointment can lead to depression. So, what am I saying to you? You might know this and you might not know this, but a lot of your kids might be suffering from different levels of depression. I'm not going to get into the different levels this morning, but I'm just going to just plainly talk about depression. Depression is a real thing. It is not a figment of your imagination. That is just not something that just happens by happenstance. A lot of kids deal with depression even at an early as 4 or 5 or even 6 years old. Depression is real. Depression is real. Just like mental health is real, and we have a lot of awareness of that. Depression is just as bad because depression deals with the mind, it deals with the heart too. But for any of my doctors and nurses and therapists, depression deals with the mind. And a lot of your kids might be dealing with a lot. I have talked to my wife many times about this, about depression and how depression can hit children in a different way that it hits adults. A lot of children, you'll see it on their faces, or they might come out of the blue and start saying certain things, or expounding on how they feel, and you see that they're dealing with depression or anxiety. But we're talking about depression, and every child should be entitled to being able to express their feelings, express their emotions when they're feeling sad, when they're feeling angry, when they're feeling isolated. A lot of teens deal with this. This is why we see a lot of teens that run to smoking marijuana, weed, drinking, partying because they're depressed. Because they feel like they don't have anybody to talk to. They feel like nobody really understands what goes on in their mind on a daily basis, what the thoughts that run through their minds. I feel that a lot of kids that are children or teens, young adults that are dealing with depression, they can't deal with this this monster by themselves. They have to be able to have support to defeat this nemesis of depression. Depression can keep you from eating. Depression can keep you from enjoying life, being truly happy. And a lot of kids deal with that. You got some kids that will smile, but they're depressed, laugh, but they're depressed, um, go on trips and they're depressed, hang out with their friends, but they're depressed, eat at the dinner table, but they're depressed, look at a movie, go to the movies with the family, but they're depressed. But you got to recognize when your child is not acting right. You got to recognize when your child is different. There's been an abnormality going on. And you have to be able to recognize my child is acting different today. My child is not him or herself. And you got to do some investigation. You got to do some investigation. You got to ask some questions. And even when you don't get the answer that you're looking for, you got to look at the verbal cues, but you also got to look at the non-verbal cues. Why are they acting like this? What happened? And it sounds like you're snooping, but it's more of a concern. There's a concern. It should be a concern because you want to do your best as a parent or guardian to recognize when your child is depressed, they're just not acting the same. That's why I give you those examples because sometimes they could be acting the same, but still might be dealing with something. When your child, if you know your child as well as you do, because you're the only one that really, really knows your child more than anybody else, and you see they're not as happy, they're not as joyous, they're not jumping around, they're not dancing around, they're not moving around. You want to hone in on that, asking your son, what's wrong? If they say nothing, of course, you don't just go with it. You might say, okay, I'm just checking on you, but you're paying attention. You're paying attention to their body language. You're paying attention if they want to eat or not. Paying attention if they want to go outside. If that's what they do, if they love the outdoors, if they love football and basketball, they love video games, but they just want to lay down all the time. And every time you talk to them, it's always a sad, they have a sad disposition about them. You might want to look into what's going on. Why are they feeling this way? Why are they acting this way? Because if I don't want my child to suffer with depression, I surely don't want your child to suffer with depression. So I'm encouraging you, and this is where some of, not all, but some, um, how can I put this? Some behaviors, excuse me, some behaviors can come out of this. Some behaviors can come out of depression. You might say, well, how? Well, they could be acting out, not breaking things and not, living, in a horrible way. But depression can come out with them talking to you any kind of way at first, being snappy at first, um, being a little rude, standoffish. Um, they're just not themselves. And the reason why I'm taking a little time this morning because some of you right now are thinking, you're thinking about the last few days, you're thinking about the last few weeks, and you're saying, DMP speaks, you're on to something. My child has been a little different these past couple of days. And you also got to look at where it might originate from. Your child is good for one moment and they've had a loss. And that's inevitable, right? That feeling of grief. But it's been a year, it's been two, and they're still really down. Because you know what people say, time heals all wounds, or time heals wounds, or time heals all wounds. Time doesn't heal all wounds. That's just not what I believe in. I believe time helps and to understand and to accept it. It doesn't heal everything. And sometimes your child, even it might not even be a loss of a loved one dying. It could be a loss of a friend, a significant other. What I mean, like their little girlfriend, little boyfriend. But it could be something they really had their mind set on and they were not picked, or their project wasn't picked, or they weren't picked on the football team or the basketball team or the baseball team, and depression sets in because they don't feel that they were treated right, or it was unfair, and they start to look at themselves and say they're a failure. Nobody understands. You can do all the things for them, but if depression sets in, you want to be able to recognize that as soon as possible. Excuse me, because our children are suffering from depression, and a lot of them are dealing with it by themselves because they have not told you. They haven't shined the light, because sometimes being depressed not only is not a good feeling, it could feel a little embarrassing, but they don't know how to deal with their emotions. They don't know how to deal with their thoughts. So as much as it might feel weird to keep asking questions, or uncomfortable, word that comes to my mind, make sure you're asking them all the questions. Make sure you're checking on them, telling them that they can do it, that you love them. Because these words, these affirmations, that you can do it no matter, yes, you are disappointed, but you're going to get back up. Telling them certain things like this, showing them, helping them, because that could be a problem of why you all are not talking. Because depression can make a child become isolated. It can make a child feel don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I just want to be in my thoughts. You might give them a little breathing room, but you don't want them to stay there. You don't want them to stay there. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to close. If your child is dealing with depression and you know it's getting to the place it's getting out of hand, act quickly. Act quickly. Get them into counseling, get them into therapy, get them there, get them to me. Let me help you. Because our children are our future. But if their minds are not functioning at the level that it should be functioning, because depression has overtaken them, they can't lead tomorrow because they're stuck in now. And we got to help them. And this is bringing a lot of problems to your life. And you want to do something about it. You're hurt, but you're tired of seeing your child suffer like that, because as they suffer, you hurt. And you're tired of your family hurting. You're tired of your children hurting from depression and any anxiety or frustration, exhaustion of the mind. I want you to click on the link right now, and I want you to sign up for your free 30-minute consultation call, because depression doesn't really have a look. Somebody could be smiling and they could be depressed. They could be doing well and they still can be depressed. They can tell you, I love you, but internally they hate themselves. And you don't want that. You don't want them to suffer in silence, because there is help. And help is what I will give. Give my all to help you and your family turn things around and start to remove depression in the sequence, so that that child, your child, can start living on a new level, because they got to be on a new level of thinking. Depression will not have them anymore. Guys, thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, please click the link if you're interested in my program. I want to help you. I want to help your family. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to leave you with some information, but I will see you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Bye-bye.